2024, another summer trip with Don.
Since the pandemic, we've been taking summer adventures together, mostly to the Sierra Nevada for lengthy hikes, something we've both enjoyed our whole lives.
2021 was the Bishop Lakes Loop, a classic week-long trek.
2022, the Taboose Pass trek, new trail for both of us.
2023, a west side route from Lake Edison to Lake Florence, a chance to take the boats both into and out of the wilderness.
Alas, this year, 2024, I had some work done on my shoulder, so no backpacking this year. Better luck next year. But have you seen? There will be a concert this summer in San Diego we both might like.
Oh, who? The Rolling Stones? Taylor Swift? The Papa Jamboree?
Not quite. How about VOCES8, the vocal octet out of England?
That's the ensemble that sets up 8 music stands and sings immaculately, right?
That's them.
Well, that is tempting. Let's do it. Trade in freeze-dried food and mosquitoes for perfect singing and lovely San Diego weather.
The drive over from Tucson couldn't be straighter. Google Maps says 6 hours, which means 8 hours for us.
Yep, hard to stay on time with stopping so much to check out plants or birds or rocks.
Or sand dunes. The Algodones dunes outside of Yuma are visible right from the highway and quite fetching.
Yeah, and who doesn't like big piles of sand, especially when it's 110 outside?
We decided to camp on this trip, paying respects to our Sierra accommodations, though this year it was car camping as opposed to backpacking.
To get out of the big heat, we climbed up the Cuyamaca State Park, whose namesake lake is very pretty.
Good birding here, since water attracts animals in an otherwise arid landscape.
The campground here is called Paso Picacho, and at 5,000 feet elevation, it's definitely cooler. It's comprised of a mix of pines and oaks, an excellent spot for camping.
Many of these pines are riddled with holes in their bark created by acorn woodpeckers, which are abundant and noisy here.
Yes, and they drill holes just big enough to hold acorns, apparently stashing food for later use.
So be it, and don't worry, the bark is thick enough that these holes don't go all the way into the wood, so no harm done to these trees.
It has been said of me that I like my sunsets, which is true, but I also like sunrises. We got a nice sunrise here at Paso Picacho.
Hey, a lot of dead trees here. What do you think? Fire?
Yep, this area burned hot in 2003, killing old trees, both pines and oaks. Now, 21 years later, it's mostly lower stature chaparral vegetation in the burn area.
Maybe another case of ecosystem type conversion following a severe disturbance.
This area was and still is the homeland of indigenous people since time immemorial. An artistic depiction from Cuyamaca shows the usual dome house made of a stick frame and thatch covering, adjoined with a ramada, allowing for spending time outdoors.
The name currently used for this group is Kumeyaay.
First things first in San Diego, visiting a dear lifelong friend. 45 years ago, my summer job was wilderness ranger in the San Jacinto Mountains.
Yes, the mountains with a 10,000-foot elevation gain from the desert.
Right. My job, believe it or not, was to hike the backcountry trails, including to the peak.
Nice work if you can get it.
Added bonus, I commuted to work on the Palm Springs aerial tramway up the east side of the mountain.
Wow, that's one of the world's finest tramways, climbing several thousand feet.
Right again, and at the end of my work shift, I'd take the tramway down and have a decision to make. Drive home to Long Beach, 3 hours away, or turn left at Banning and spend my weekend in the mountain resort town of Idlewild.
Well, that must have been an easy decision.
Yes, except that I didn't have any place to stay in Idlewild, so I camped.
Okay.
A fellow state park employee, Betsy, noticed my homelessness and invited me to her cabin for dinner, which turned into my staying overnight on the deck, which turned into my sort of becoming part of the family.
Nice.
Betsy has been a friend and a mentor ever since, instilling in me a love of the parks and a goal to visit them all. Irene's volunteering in parks also stems from Betsy's example of teaching in the parks.
No wonder you insist on stopping at every last park on road trips.
Betsy just turned the big 9-0 and lives in San Diego now. It's been years since I last visited, so we spent the morning with Betsy. Here's the view from her apartment.
Whoa, it appears we're higher than the Angel Moroni. Is that good?
It's not bad. Either way, it was nice seeing you again, Betsy, and I promise I'll visit more often. Until next time, I'll cherish our group photo.
The main attraction on this trip up in La Jolla was a concert of VOCES8 singing the Requiem of Gabriel Fauré, French, spanning the 19th and 20th centuries.
Fauré wrote his Requiem, a vocal rendition of the church mass for the departed, for no one in particular, but just for the pleasure of creating a requiem.
Fun or not, the Fauré Requiem is considered a choral masterpiece, a must-do piece for choristers.
I've sung other choral works of Fauré, but the Requiem is lengthy and requires an orchestra, so not easily performed by our home choir, the faculty staff choir at Arizona.
It's fun just seeing the album covers of the many recordings. This clearly is a major choral work.
And the concert hall is sweet. This venue is attractive outside and stunning on the inside. Good call, Don.
But there's more. Ticket holders were invited to join VOCES8 on stage for a vocal choral workshop.
What? No way.
Yep, no fee or anything. Just commit to working on a couple of songs and show up a day early for the workshop.
Okay then, count me in.
The songs were Locus Iste, a sacred piece by Anton Bruckner, and Underneath the Stars by Kate Rusby.
Not familiar with either piece, but to get ourselves ready, under video surveillance recorded them. Here, for example, is the opening line of Locus Iste.
Not bad for your first time. This should be doable.
Rehearsal with VOCES8 was classic, with techniques covered for breathing, listening, entrances, pitch accuracy, all the things singers try to do and that VOCES8 excels at.
And the VOCES8 singers themselves, lovely, witty, funny, engaging, super nice to spend time with them.
On one hand, it's amazing they allow such close access to themselves, as they are very busy.
On the other hand, groups like this do public outreach, so it's not surprising that VOCES8 opens up like this.
In barbershop harmony, similar outreach is done for choir students at the high schools. Called Youth in Harmony, these workshops are popular and they result in the next generation being excited about close harmony. They're rewarding for us teachers as well.
Suffice to say, this bonus activity added immeasurably to our trip.
Absolutely. Thanks to VOCES8 for doing this.
Speaking of national parks, there is one in San Diego, the Cabrillo National Monument, out on Point Loma.
Yep, one of the parks Betsy volunteered at. Cabrillo has lots to see and do, starting with the tide pools.
We were there at high tide, so we enjoyed the view of the vast Pacific Ocean.
And there's a lighthouse, patchworthy in its own right.
And a national cemetery, deeply moving, all the headstones in perfect lines.
The namesake for this park is Juan Rodriguez Carrillo, a Spanish explorer who reached this spot by boat in 1542.
He didn't stay long, as he was intent on exploring northward on the coast.
Cabrillo National Monument features all this and is recommendable even for people not intent on bagging national parks.
Later that day, we caught the sunset from Point Loma, a place called Sunset Cliffs.
Nice one, and I do like my sunsets.
On the way home, a visit to Mile Zero of the Pacific Crest Trail, the thing I've been trying to accomplish since 1974.
Whoa, the 50th anniversary for you. Can't pass that up, let's do it.
It's amazing for me to be here again.
Looking north, it's hard to envision that it's 2,653 miles to Canada.
Looking south, the border wall, which wasn't here 50 years ago, evokes mixed emotions.
Yes, but no time in this video to weigh in on that topic.
We also saw a San Diego County park called Lake Morena.
Though county parks count as much as state and national parks, and this lake is beautiful. We should come back here someday with the canoes.
Sure thing, but not in summer. Too hot here in August.
Good trip, Don. See you next year.
Absolutely, with my new shoulder even.